One fine day, you just woke up and you thought, let's upgrade the API version of this Apex class. Let's upgrade it to 67. What's going to happen? Nothing. Without giving any thought, you just flip the version because you think 55 is so old, 56 is so old. Let's upgrade the API version of this Apex class, and then you move it to 67, and boom. You must be one of them who never reads release notes, who does not have any idea what's going in Salesforce release, summer, spring, whatever. So you have no idea what has been changed and how it's going to impact. This is the very, very important scenario, and it's a real life risk if you are watching this in 2026. This is the current update from Salesforce. So you may face this question. So you had this existing class sitting in your system with no sharing keyword, nothing, and then you changed the API version to 67. Now, some users are complaining that they see fewer records as an output of the Apex class. They see few things less than before, then some fields are missing and everything the chaos. Now, what's going on here and how do you fix it? So those who don't know, Apex always ran in system mode, okay? But 67 version changes everything. Your code no longer gets a system mode by default. It gets the same access as whoever is running it if you switch to the API version 67. Okay, so if you don't know what is the system mode and user mode, so previously for all of your API versions lesser than 67, you had this system mode by default enabled where your own permissions were bypassed completely. So you had all the object permissions, field level securities, and sharing rules did not apply to your logic. It was just an open door. Okay. Now the user mode is your permissions will be enforced. Whatever access you possess, that will be respected when the code is triggered or the logic is executed. Okay, so it's like an employee badge. You will get what you have access to. Okay, now what has been changed exactly in winter 26 for the API version 67? First is your database operations, means DML operations, insert, update, delete. They are now defaulted to user mode. Okay, so your SOQL queries, your DML updates now enforce the running users object and field level permissions automatically. So if you don't have any particular object access and field access and you're trying to read or update that field in the class, that's not going to happen now. Previously, if you write a simple query in the class, okay, that query would be running in the system mode and giving you all kind of data from account object. Even if you don't have access on particular fields, you can just access it because the code was running in system mode. Now, your code will run in user mode. So field level security is important here. Sharing rules are enforced. So you will get what you have access to as an output of that Apex class. Okay. The second change is your unmarked classes. Unmarked means, so when you write first line of the code, you mention there, is it with sharing or without sharing? But if you do not mention anything, if it is unmarked, that class now enforce sharing. So previously for API version lesser than 67, if your class had no sharing keyword in the header, it was inherited by the parent class, which was calling that class. Okay, it simply inherits whatever sharing context called it. But now the same class with no sharing keyword, now it will behave as if you would have written with sharing. With sharing means your permissions are enforced. Your access is respected now. It's not ignored. So it will enforce the running users sharing rules by default. Okay, this is very important thing. Now let's say if you still want your Apex class to behave in the system mode, what will you have to do? Nothing, just mention without sharing in the class header. That's it. You have to mention without sharing. So this update is all about be specific about what you want. So if you don't mention anything, it's going to be by default user mode. But if you want it to be in system mode, just mention it explicitly. That's it. Then change 3 is about, we had this one keyword with security enforced for SOQL queries. Now this is being retired. So if you don't know what was with security enforced, it was just SOQL keyword, and that phrase used to enforce your object and field level security. So your query was more restrictive if you mention that in your query. Okay, now this is the retired syntax that's not going to be used. Now what do we use instead of that? We just say with user mode. So with user mode will make sure that your object and field level security is respected. And it will also make sure that sharing rules are enforced. Okay, so this keyword is retired, and a new keyword that you have to use to make your queries more restricted, you have to use with user mode. Okay, so to summarize what has been changed in Apex Security in Summer 26, the user mode is now the default mode for the Apex classes with API version 67. Then if you don't mention any sharing keyword, your class will behave as if it was in with sharing mode. Then with security enforced keyword is gone, and you have to use with user mode. So basically the takeaway is Salesforce does not want your code to run in the system mode accidentally. So if you be specific about it, it's not going to break many things, but you just need to evaluate your code and just be specific. Wherever you want system mode, just say system mode. Otherwise the default is user mode. Okay, fair enough. So the answer of this interview question now seems easy. This happened because you flipped your class to 67 without checking anything. So that led to missing records and fields and everything. So you have to confirm the old system mode access was actually intentional or not for that particular class. And if so, then make it explicit. Add keywords like without sharing on the class, or with user, with system mode, whatever you want there, and then deploy to production. And you should also audit the other classes, because someone might just wake up one day and move your class to 67 without thinking anything, because he's also like you, who doesn't read release notes. So this is the glance. If you want to screenshot it, you can take a screenshot. This is API version till 67 and then after 67. And to remember, it's not a one-time org-wide switch. It's a API version that you don't have to touch if you want to run your system smoothly or evaluate the things, correct it, and then move to 67 version. Okay, so that was all about this video. I hope this video was helpful for you. If you want to get in touch with me, see the description box and comment section. If you have liked the video, press the like button and do subscribe to my channel. Thank you.